I woke up to the soft morning light trickling in through my bedroom blinds, stretching across my comforter like golden ribbons. My phone buzzed on the nightstand beside me, and I smiled sleepily, already knowing what day it was. July 10th. My birthday. But I wasn't exactly excited. At 37, birthdays didn't feel like something to celebrate anymore. My husband and I had separated last year. My daughter, Lindsay, was away for a summer program in Oregon, and most of my friends were either out of town or busy with their own lives. I had told myself I'd keep it low-key this year, maybe a glass of wine, a movie, and early bed. But I still checked my phone, hoping someone had remembered. A few texts. My sister, a coworker, and one from a group chat I barely responded to. That was it. I sighed and got out of bed, brushing my messy dark hair back into a loose bun and slipping on my robe. I padded into the kitchen and started the coffee pot, trying not to let the silence feel too heavy. It was just another day, I told myself. Another number. I should be grateful for my health, my house, and my quiet life. But it still stung. Birthdays weren't supposed to feel this lonely. I took my coffee out to the front porch, the early summer breeze brushing my skin softly. The view from my little house in Denver was peaceful. Birds chirped in the trees lining the street. Lawns were freshly cut. And next door, the Martinez family was already up. I spotted their son, Jason, carrying bags of soil from the trunk of his mom's car. He was 23, maybe 24 now, tall with sandy brown hair that was always a little messy, in a charming way. He had that youthful confidence about him, the kind that made older women like me wonder what it would feel like to be that carefree again. "Morning, Mrs. Kent," he called out when he noticed me, waving as he carried a heavy bag of potting soil. I smiled and waved back. "Good morning, Jason. You're up early. Helping my mom with the garden? She says she's trying to win Yard of the Month this time." He laughed, brushing sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. He had on a faded Colorado State t-shirt that clung to his chest and a pair of ripped jeans. He looked like he belonged in a magazine for backyard barbecues. "Tell her she's got my vote," I said with a chuckle, sipping my coffee. He tilted his head curiously. "Hey, isn't today your birthday?" I raised my eyebrows, surprised. "Wow, you remembered?" "Of course I did," he said, grinning. "Facebook told me." I laughed. The power of social media. He put down the bag and walked closer to the porch, stopping at the bottom of the steps. "Seriously though, are you doing anything fun today?" I hesitated, then shrugged. "Not really. Just taking it easy. No cake? No dinner plans? Nothing fancy. Just me, myself, and I said with a small smile, trying not to let the disappointment show. Jason looked at me for a moment, his expression thoughtful. "That doesn't seem right. Birthdays should be celebrated." "Well, I appreciate you saying that." He looked around, then leaned a little closer. "Okay, don't go anywhere. I have an idea." I blinked. "What kind of idea?" He just smiled mysteriously. "Trust me. Give me a couple of hours." And with that, he jogged back to his driveway, disappearing into the Martinez house. I sat there, bewildered and a little amused. What could he possibly be planning? I shook my head, chuckling to myself, and went back inside. By noon, I had showered, dressed in a flowy sundress, just for myself, even if I wasn't going anywhere, and was tidying up when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Jason standing there with a bright smile and a small box in his hands. "Happy birthday," he said, holding it out to me. "Oh, Jason, you didn't have to get me anything." "I didn't have to," he said, "but I wanted to." I opened the box and found a delicate necklace with a tiny sunflower pendant. I gasped softly. "This is really sweet." "I remember you said sunflowers were your favorite," he said a little shyly now. "Back when you helped my mom pick garden seeds last spring." "You remembered that?" I asked, touched. "Of course." He rubbed the back of his neck. "That's not all. I made lunch. For you. Come over." I blinked again. "You made lunch?" He nodded. "I cook sometimes. I'm not saying it's 5-star, but I promise it's edible." I couldn't help but smile. "You're really doing all this for me? You're a good neighbor." and a kind person. I figured someone should make your birthday feel special. I followed him next door, still stunned. The Martinez house smelled like fresh basil and garlic the moment I stepped inside. The dining table had been set with a simple white tablecloth, candles, and a small bouquet of wildflowers in a mason jar. There were 2 plates of pasta, pesto fettuccine with grilled chicken steaming and ready. "This is amazing," I said, honestly moved. He pulled out a chair for me. "Bon appetit, birthday girl." We sat, we ate, we talked. It didn't feel awkward, even though I was technically 14 years older than him. Jason had this natural way of making people feel at ease. He told me stories about school, how he was planning to move to Austin soon, how he'd been working part-time at a music store. I told him about my daughter, my work, and my recent dive into learning photography. After lunch, we sat on the patio drinking lemonade. The sky was a clear blue, and laughter floated from other homes in the neighborhood, but it felt like a little bubble around us. We weren't talking much at that point, just sitting quietly. Then Jason looked over and said something I wasn't expecting. "I know this might sound weird, but I always thought you were pretty incredible." I blinked. "What?" "You've been through a lot. Raising Lindsay mostly on your own, running your business, staying so strong. I admire that." I didn't know what to say. Compliments from someone younger, especially someone like Jason, hit differently. They felt unexpected. Honest. I swallowed hard, not sure how to respond. He laughed lightly. "Sorry. I didn't mean to make it awkward." "No," I said quickly. "You didn't. That was really kind." There was a pause. A moment. The kind you feel in your chest before something shifts. He leaned a little closer, his gaze soft. "I'm glad I could spend a day with you." "Me too," I whispered. And then, to my surprise, he reached for my hand. His fingers were warm, steady, and I didn't pull away. We stayed like that for a long time, just holding hands, saying nothing, letting the summer air settle around us like a warm blanket. It wasn't romantic in the obvious way. There were no sweeping declarations, but there was something gentle, pure, and understanding. By the time I got home that evening, I had a smile on my face that wouldn't fade. Jason didn't try to kiss me or cross any lines. He just made me feel seen, celebrated, remembered. And in a world where most birthdays get swallowed by routine, that feeling was the best gift of all. Later that night, as I sat on my bed looking at the sunflower necklace glinting in the lamplight, I thought about how simple acts could mean everything. I hadn't expected anything from today. But Jason, my neighbor's son, gave me a memory I'd hold on to forever. And honestly, for the first time in years, I felt like my birthday really was something worth celebrating.